2025. It's a lot, isn't it? We're living in this hyper-connected yet strangely disconnected world of political chaos and polarization. We've got far-right movements and forms of fascism and Stanley Cups. And all of this almost nihilism is reminding me of a certain 19th century philosopher with a spectacular mustache, interesting sociological ideas, and a whole dose of racism. I'm not actually sure why Nietzsche is so revered in 2025, particularly on YouTube. What are you guys seeing that I'm not seeing? But I do think this is worth exploring. There is something past all of the problematic ideas of Nietzsche that people are really clicking with. There were a lot of philosophers from a couple of centuries ago whose personal morality is completely outdated. Take Kant. I'm a massive Kantian. I love his analytical philosophy, but I do have to remember that he thought all humans were equal, except for black people because they're not humans. I do think it's harder to separate Nietzsche from his personal values, though, because whilst Kant was talking very metaphysically, Nietzsche was talking about the human race, its fate, the way that we organize and have meaning in society. Nietzsche actively segregated humans into different strains and praised the elite class and almost saw wealth gaps as incredibly progressive for society. If you'd like more information on the more controversial aspects of Nietzsche, I highly recommend checking out Abigail Thorne at PhilosophyTube. You probably haven't heard of her? 6 months ago, she did a video about whether Nietzsche would be a MAGA supporter and whether Nietzsche was woke. Brilliant. But those videos really inspired me to hop onto the Nietzsche YouTube train and give my thoughts. Before we dive into the philosophical abyss, I'm Jodie. I'm interested in how these crusty, dusty old guys still have resonance in society today. I'm a massive nerd for this stuff, and I really want to create a space where people can understand and enjoy philosophy without the need for a PhD. So if you're into that, stick around. So Nietzsche. If you've heard of him, you've probably also heard his famous phrase, "God is dead." You hear that and you think, okay, edgy atheist guy, we get it. But Nietzsche wasn't popping bottles. He wasn't celebrating the emptying of churches. He was terrified. You see, for centuries, the idea of God was the foundation for everything. Not just Sunday church, not just so that you don't steal from your neighbor, not just social order. They're talking about personal experiences, how they made sense of themselves in the world. Their entire existence was explained by this one fundamental idea: God. So then comes empiricism, science, and the foundation starts to crumble. We, as a society, killed God as our ultimate anchor. And Nietzsche's question was, well, what the heck do we do now? When the rulebook gets thrown out, what stops us from turning to existential dread, meaninglessness, an existential crisis, thinking nothing matters at all? He predicted this would turn into a massive societal hangover called nihilism. The creeping feeling that life has no meaning or purpose, and he thought we were totally unprepared for it. So fast forward to now and I ask, are we nihilists? I think Nietzsche would look at 2025 and think, not quite. But it's worse than I could have ever imagined. He wouldn't see a world that has accepted meaninglessness. He would see a world that's quite comically, desperately searching for meaning in the most strangest of places. Maybe meaning is just plain old consumerism. The belief that if you just get that new iPhone, that new skincare, that new Stanley Cup, then you'll finally be happy and all the suffering was worth it. Maybe it's this weird cult of productivity, where your entire self-worth is tied to the space available on your Google Calendar. This weird sense that you need to be working on something all the time. I know I'm guilty of that. Maybe it's obsessing over political ideologies, hoping that they might just explain the unexplainable of the world. And everyone who disagrees with your take on that explanation is just wrong and pure evil. Politics could actually be seen as our new religion at the moment. It really does pit belief systems against each other. Or maybe it's the bullshit of corporate culture. You know, the "we're not a team, we're family" LinkedIn posts. The company isn't just a place to get paid, it's your purpose. Work for a B Corp company and you're doing good for the world. Millennials, they were sold the idea that if you do a job that you love, you'll never have to work a day in your life. So I think Nietzsche would say we're just shopping around for meaning, and he would hate it. Let's talk about that toxic elephant in the room, shall we? Social media. What would Nietzsche think of it? Honestly, I think he'd see it as the ultimate machine for creating what he called the herd.
Oh, Jesus Christ! Fenta!
Nietzsche's main thing was that society had this way of pulling you towards conformity. Society wants you to be safe, predictable, and just like everyone else. Just another data point, you could say. So the herd praises fitting in and doesn't really like people who stand out. It's basically like my middle school. My dad would always be like, "Jodie, don't be a sheep." But I didn't have a choice, Dad. It was the rules. And social media could be seen to have perfected the tools to ensure this conformity. You've got that little like button, that little tool for self-validation that ensures that you post things that you know other people would like. You've got TikTok trends, millions of people doing the same exact dance to the same exact song, not as an expression of our soul, but because it's the thing to do. And then you have cancel culture, which is the herd at its most aggressive, willing to push out anyone that steps out of line. Often it's necessary, but sometimes it's a little overboard. I think Nietzsche would look at social media and think it's a breeding ground for what he called slave morality. That name is a choice. He said that the powerful create master morality, where good is just them. So strong, creative, powerful, elite. Bad is weak. They can't win on strength, so they flip the script. They say the powerful are evil, and so good must be the opposite. Humble, meek, harmless. Nietzsche thinks this is a morality born out of resentment. So anyway, I think Nietzsche would see the internet as somewhere where that resentment can fester. He'd see us scrolling, feel that little burn of envy at seeing a rich person's life and think, that's the poison. You're making the herd resentful with these lavish displays of wealth. And of course, it's the herd's fault that they're all poor and ugly. So I do think Nietzsche would tell us, "I told you so." But I also think that he would take it upon himself to be the hero. Nietzsche wasn't just a hater. He wanted to provide a solution to this crisis, and that was the Übermensch, the overman. The overman is an individual who looks at all this mess, looks at the herd mentality, the death of God, the meaninglessness, and thinks, "All right, I'm free." The Übermensch creates their own set of values. They throw out the real book and try to find purpose from the ground up. So Nietzsche isn't telling you to throw your phone away and go live in the woods like he did. He's asking a much harder set of questions. Can you use technology without becoming one of the herd? Can you consume content without letting it consume you? Can you exist in the herd without becoming a part of it? And I think these are the kind of questions that are really helpful for people nowadays, and why Nietzsche is so resonant on places like YouTube, where people are searching for answers. It helps us to not get trapped in oversimplistic ways of thinking, such as immigration is the root of all our country's problems, or or AI is here to either save the world or end it. Because the truth, often if not always, is somewhere in between. So that gives us a lot to think about. My head hurts. Let me know what you think in the comments. Am I right? Would this miserable, crusty old dude have a field day tearing us apart? Are we doomed without purposefulness forever? Let me know. And I'll catch you later.